Hey there guys, welcome back to AFC Game by Game. This is my review of Arsenal's victory away from home at St James's Park against Newcastle. And for me, that second half, probably our best performance of the season. Even though we only practically played for 45 minutes in this game, that was the most exciting, captivating and enjoyable Arsenal performance that I've seen so far. And 3 wins on the bounce. I can't emphasise how crucial that is to Unai Emery's start as an Arsenal manager, which is it's glorious. It's really, really exciting to see. I'm really feeling positive about this season. After what was a rocky start, 3 wins on the bounce definitely shows progress from where we were last campaign. I know it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. You know, our defence definitely needs work. We still need to take this a lot further, but it is really, really positive to see Arsenal playing well, winning away from home. 2 wins away from home, which we couldn't even do last season, is really, really good to see. Back-to-back wins away as well, which is huge. And I'm just starting to see the team come together that little bit more. The only thing I'm ever so slightly concerned about is that we're not quite getting it right from the start. In this game, I think it was obvious that Torreira had to start, and there were question marks over whether he would or not, considering he picked up a slight knock when he was away with Uruguay. But when he came on at half-time, you just saw what a different dynamic he brought to the game. Actually, I ironically thought Guendouzi had a really good performance today for the 45 minutes he was on the pitch. He seemed to link play really well, but I think we can only really afford to play one of Xhaka or Guendouzi because they're too alike. They're sort of players that like to play with the ball that little bit more, whereas Torreira is a no-nonsense player. He's that pit bull in the middle that we need. So for me, it's either got to be Torreira, Guendouzi or Torreira, Xhaka. Torreira just has to be a staple in the midfield. He is excellent at the defensive stuff, but he also ticks the play over really well. His passing is fantastic. We all know he's got a great free kick on him as well, and he just... You know, I speak for everyone when I say that he's got to be starting in an Arsenal shirt. But it's great to see him play really well again today in that second half and just be instrumental to the way that we're playing. And a great signing as well. Let's not let that go under the radar. No one had really heard of him last season, and now he's one of the most exciting players that we've got at the club. Only 22 years old, Guendouzi 19 years old. It's really positive in that Arsenal midfield. And everything just seems to tick when he's on the pitch. Xhaka looks different, Ramsey looks different, Ozil looks different. I think he brings out the best in our other central midfielders. So, yeah, as I say, I'm not going to keep rambling on about that, but we need to see him start these games. The lineup was pretty much, in fact, it was exactly the same from the game against Cardiff, so I couldn't really complain too much about that. As I say, the only one quibble was having Guendouzi start this match. I do think that we do need to micromanage him ever so slightly. I don't want to see him start game after game after game. And if I haven't already mentioned it before, I definitely have. Torreira has to come in for him now. It's no doubt in my mind. We've got the Europa League, we've got the Carabao Cup coming up. Guendouzi will have opportunities in those competitions to play. So for me, as I say, it's a straight swap, and I think we'll just see the team start to play a bit better from here on in if that change is to occur, which I definitely think it should occur. But as I say, not going to keep going on about that. The rest of the team was great. Lacazette and Aubameyang starting again. Good to see those two linking up. Good to see them forming a bit more of a partnership. You can see again the understanding is there between those two players. Mesut Ozil as well, making his 200th appearance. Marked that with a goal. We'll get onto that a little bit later. But the rest of the team perfectly fine. In defence, the same back 5. Not too many quibbles there. I do still think that we need to see Leno come in sooner rather than later, and I do believe he'll get that chance in the Europa League on Thursday night against Wolfsburg. Probably said their name wrong, but it's good to see Leno hopefully get a start in that match, because I do think we just need that little bit more of an understanding at the back. The defence, for the most part today, wasn't poor. They actually played quite well. There was that slight blunder by Mustafi in the first half, but Newcastle very rarely troubled us in this game. That was more to them being very poor in the final third, but we were never really tested, and whatever we did do at the back, the playing it out from the back style, especially in that second half and towards the end of the first half, we seemed to fashion some really good chances. So I'm really pleased to see Mustafi and Socrates in particular playing well. Socrates was immense today. I thought he had a really good game. But again, you just see our frailties at the back. That chance that Newcastle scored at the end of the game, Clark putting it in the back of the net, just real lapse in concentration. It would have been great to have come away from St James's Park with a clean sheet to our name. Unfortunately, we haven't, and we shouldn't let that goal be a distraction from the positives of today, because there were so many positives to take out of today's performance. But again, a clean sheet will do this defence the world of good, and I do think, again, Torreira will be instrumental to that. I do think we look defensively more sound when he's on the pitch, and I do think we are starting to see Mustafi and Socrates gel that a little bit more together. But whilst our fullbacks are constantly bombing up the flanks, we are always going to be susceptible to damage, especially from long balls over the top. So it is a worry, and I do think we are going to struggle to keep clean sheets this season. I think we're going to have an even worse defensive record than we did last campaign. I know that's hard to hear, but I do think if we are going to insist on playing this way, we have to accept that we're going to concede goals. Emery made it very clear from the start he'd rather win games by 4-3 than a simple 1-0, which isn't really the Arsenal way, but I mean, if we're going to be, given some really entertaining spectacles this season, then I won't say I'm all for it, but I'm excited to see how it all plays out. I just want to see Arsenal look a bit more sturdy at the back. But I think we saw improvement in that sense today. It was progress all over the pitch for me. That first half, there's not really too much to talk about. It wasn't as catastrophic as I think people made out. There was definitely a reaction at half-time, which I don't think was warranted. Yes, I don't think we weren't creative. I wouldn't go as far as saying we were poor. We just weren't creative in the final third. We dominated the ball. Newcastle had half chances. They didn't really have anything clear on our goal, which is why I don't think it was the catastrophic first half that so many people were making it out to be. But we needed to be more clinical in that final third. We weren't. We just seemed to have a half-assed press. We looked lethargic. We didn't have a great understanding between the front men. It just didn't really have the intense performance, the intense press that I saw from Arsenal in the opening game against Manchester City. We didn't look as up for it as we have done in previous games, which is a real shame, especially in an important game. And it does go back to what I said at the start of the video, that we're not getting it right from the start, because a better team takes the half chances that Newcastle scored. It even creates more chances than we could have quite easily. Games will be over by half time if we don't get it right from the get-go. So it's vital that that's sorted out sooner rather than later. And I do, as I mentioned many times, Torreira coming in, I'm pretty sure we'll solve that problem. But that first half, it was dismal. It wasn't exciting. It didn't get me off my feet at all. It was a very, very boring and dull watch. But we did create a very good chance towards the end of the first half, which we didn't quite put in the back of the net. But it was a classic Emery Arsenal move that you want to see, playing it out from the back, creating that chance, Bellerin putting it across goal. No one there to finish it off, but it was encouraging going out into that second half. Second half, we see the main man come on, the little man, time for Torreira, ironically, him coming on. And it was just completely different. We got that free kick, Granit Xhaka, brilliant free kick, and he had a great performance today as well, that's got to be noted. Put it into the back of the net to make it 1-0, and we know that we've been working so hard on set pieces this season, and it's just evidenced through that. And he's become one of our, I think he was our 8th or 9th goal scorer this season, and I think people were so worried about our lack of creativity in terms of who would score the goals for us, so much pressure put on Aubameyang and Lacazette, but we're getting goals from everywhere on the pitch, which is great to see and really, really encouraging. Mesut Ozil went on to score not too long after that, simple pass into the back of the net, great way to cap off his 200th performance, and again, another goal scorer to add to the collection. So it's really positive in that sense. There are goals coming from everywhere. We've got so many options on the pitch now. And look at the players we brought on, Torreira, Mkhitaryan and Danny Welbeck. Brilliant options. Iwobi didn't even make the bench today. So this squad is looking healthy. It's looking very robust. Let's not forget we've still got players like Koscielny, Kolasinac out injured. And then we've got players in the Europa League that will hopefully play games. Holding, Mavropanos, Willock. I'm really excited to see how this team's going to develop. But that second half, we should have put the game to bed, really. We had opportunities to make it 3 or 4-0. Lacazette had some brilliant opportunities, and again, he was instrumental to our forward play, holding up the ball, fashioning chances for himself, creating something out of nothing. I'm really excited to see how he's going to perform this season. I'm really quite set on him having a 25+ goal season. I think if he stays injury-free, he could well be our player of the season. That's if he remains injury-free and keeps up this consistent run of form that he seems to be on. Didn't score, but he just brings so much to our forward line. Him and Aubameyang, him and Mkhitaryan, him and pretty much anyone around him. He's got so much understanding with the players in this Arsenal team. And as I say, I just think he's going to be massive for us this season. But 3 points away from home, and again, a plethora of different goal scorers, a load of positives to take from today. Shame we didn't keep the clean sheet, but now we're keeping this winning run going. We've got the Europa League, hopefully make it 4 wins on the bounce. Then we've got Everton, hopefully make it 6. I don't think that's going to be a really straightforward game. Everton are looking quite good this season. They've definitely got some good players in Richarlison, Theo Walcott. We know all about him, and they're going to be a tough opponent for sure. Then we've got Brentford in the Cup. That should be a win and a great chance to see some of our younger players. And then as well, we've got Watford, which is definitely not going to be an easy game. Had a fantastic start to the season, but those fixtures are all at home, which is a hugely encouraging sign, and you would be expecting us to pick up all wins in those games. As I say, it won't be straightforward, but at home, given that we've got these tough results out the way against Cardiff and Newcastle, let's take that form into the Emirates Stadium and get more wins, because it's, it could well be that we find ourselves quite up there. I don't want to, say anything too soon, but we could find ourselves in a very fortunate position if we just get a couple more wins on the bounce. It could be very positive after what was a rather dismal start to the season against City and Chelsea. But one final positive today, Reiss Nelson scoring on his debut for Hoffenheim, was only on the pitch 14 minutes. Hoffenheim did go on to lose the game sadly, but a huge positive for Reiss there. Hopefully he has a great season out there in Germany, and I'm sure he will do, and come back to Arsenal, a player that is ready to start in the first 11, because we're a team that desperately needs width, and I'm pinning a lot of hope on Reiss because I think he could be a fantastic player in this Arsenal team. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap the video up there. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments box below. Drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will speak to you very, very soon. See you later.